Hey everyone, and welcome to the delivery workshop for professional communication and presentation online. This delivery workshop is based on the Naked Presenter book and philosophy by Gar Reynolds. And this philosophy is all about being your most authentic, natural self. Now, we are adopting this presentation philosophy for the online presentation medium. And so your goal is to express yourself as you are, and this is the most important thing when you're delivering an online presentation. Now, Gar Reynolds says the only way that you can deliver a speech and to show your true, natural, naked, authentic self is to prepare. There is no way that you can deliver a speech successfully if you haven't put in the time to prepare for your speech. And with preparation comes practice. You must remember that you should practice your speech at least 3 times, but the professionals say about 6 times, in order for you to feel truly comfortable with that material. So let's talk about the first part of Gar Reynolds' book and philosophy. It's all about connection. And Gar Reynolds says that your introduction must connect with punch. So you see here that punch is an acronym, and Gar Reynolds gives us several ways to connect with our audience. And it's all about hooking them. And so punch stands for personal, unexpected, novel, challenging, and humorous. And you can use these to create an introduction that grabs our attention. Now, we know this introductory period is also known as the honeymoon period, and your audience is going to be very receptive to your message, but only for a short amount of time. In the online presentation environment, audiences can easily click the X box, go do something else, start watching something else, and so you have an extremely short window to grasp your audience's attention and to hook them. Don't start a presentation out saying, "Hi, my name is Joe Blow. I'm creating this assignment for Chiaro Hayda's Professional Communication and Presentation class. This is January 1st, 2012. You want to make sure that you leave all of that information out and you start with your hook. So start with a challenging, startling statistic. Start with a story. Start with something funny, but make sure that you start off with a bang. And this is what connection is about in Gar Reynolds' Naked Presenter philosophy. So the second part of connection is all about presence. And we need to first talk about how to set up your camera and how to well execute a presentation in the online forum. Now, this picture is an example of how I want you to set up your camera. If you're using Photo Booth, for example, we should be able to see the top of your head and your shoulders. We should be able to see you very clearly, so use a background that is as plain as possible, and make sure that your lighting is good. We want to make sure that you use a combination of natural lighting from a window, overhead lighting, and lamps. So play around with your lighting before you start so that half of your face is not shaded. If your audience can't see you clearly, they're not going to be able to connect with you. And I do want to offer one more just sort of tip execution-wise. You need to either sit up perfectly straight or stand up when delivering your presentations. It's extremely important that your nonverbal communication signifies a posture and gestures that are really confident and comfortable. The next part of making sure that you connect successfully is it really ties into your TED commandment number 9, thou shalt not read thy speech. And you want to avoid reading because we can tell when someone is reading a speech. Even if we can't see that you're reading, we can hear it in your voice. And this is boring. Nothing makes a presenter sound more unauthentic or sound more robotic than if this person is reading a speech. So you never want to read a speech. Instead, create note cards or create a piece of paper with an outline, words and phrases only. You want to use a combination of notes, but you want to make sure that you're speaking from the heart. And so you want to sort of incorporate this extemporaneous, impromptu speaking along with your prepared points. So we've talked about punch, we've talked about presence. The next part of connection is projection. And projection first is about looking the part. You want to project confidence. You want to project professionalism. And so for all of your presentations, you need to make sure that you're dressed professionally. Secondly, you want to make sure that you connect with us and project your true authentic self by maintaining eye contact with your camera. I know it's really awkward, but your audience is that little tiny camera at the top of your MacBook Pro. So you need to make certain that you are maintaining a steady eye contact with that camera at all times so that your audience feels like you're looking at them and you're connecting with them. The next thing is voice, and this goes back to making sure you don't read your speech. Your voice needs to be energetic, passionate, and most importantly, authentic. You don't want to sound robotic, you don't want to sound overly rehearsed, and you should never, ever, ever write a script and just read that script, read a speech. That never works. Let's talk about lighting. We know that lighting works best when you have a combination of several things. So the light from your window, again, the light from your overhead, and the lamp. Make certain that your lighting isn't causing a glare for your audience. We don't want to have this big orb surrounding your face and blocking us from connecting with you and seeing you. So lighting is really important, but so is hearing you clearly. And so you want to make certain that your voice isn't having any competition. If you're using music in your presentation, turn it down very, very, very low or turn it off completely as you're talking. And you never want to use music that has lyrics or has someone singing, because if you have someone singing a song and you're trying to speak words, your audience is not going to be able to concentrate on you. There's going to be too much going on. So make certain music can be used to introduce you and to sort of conclude the presentation, to bring you out, but make sure that music with lyrics doesn't play throughout your entire presentation as you're trying to talk. Now, we've talked about connection. Gar Reynolds' second major part of his Naked Presenter philosophy is about engagement. And he said we should engage with passion, play, and proximity. So let's talk about this. You have free reign over all of your presentation topics. And so while one needs to be informative and one needs to be persuasive, you get to choose what you talk about. So pick a topic that you are passionate about and that you can speak on with energy and enthusiasm. And use facial expressions such as a natural smile to show that you're passionate about that topic. It's really important, again, that you reflect the feelings you want your audience to feel. And so if you want us to be excited about something, show us you're excited through your smile. A great way to make sure your audience is engaged is to use a spirit of play. Now think about Punch. Punch is all about using humor, using storytelling, using startling facts and statistics, and this is really what play is all about. So not only do you need to use this for your hook, but you need to incorporate play throughout your entire presentation so your audience stays engaged. Now, remember that you do have an extra credit opportunity with this delivery workshop, and this is going to be below the video. If you have any questions about this extra credit opportunity, make sure you contact your instructor via email for more information. So the third part of engagement is proximity. And in the online environment, this is all about overcoming barriers. One barrier, for example, is your notes. If you just read your speech, this is a barrier between you and your audience. Another barrier is the online medium itself. And so you want to remember that at all times, the technology should be absolutely invisible. Your audience watching you at home should feel like it's you and them engaging in a conversation. And so make certain if you have technological issues or errors that you just roll with it. You keep going and you pretend like they're invisible. So the last thing you need to keep in mind for an authentic, natural presentation is that you need to have a powerful finish that sticks in the minds of your audiences for hours or days or hopefully weeks to come. The parts of the presentation that your audience will really remember the most are going to be your introduction and your conclusion, especially your conclusion, because this is the last thing they hear. So you really want to focus on, just as you punch your audience to hook them, leave them with something that sticks in their mind. How can you leave a lasting impression on your audience? So this is our delivery workshop. The philosophy again comes from Gar Reynolds, and I encourage you all to check out his book. It's called The Naked Presenter, and you can find it on Amazon.com among other sources. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm always happy to answer your questions about delivery and what works best.